Think about the direction America's heading. Some pretty big questions surface fast, don't they?
They really do. Like, how do we shore up our essential systems?
Exactly. And our safety, our security, especially with the whole global picture kind of shifting.
And you can't really talk about that without talking about automation.
Right. I mean, look at the history, like companies such as ABB Robotics, the way they just reshaped manufacturing back when globalization was really taking off.
It's a fascinating parallel, actually. ABB's robots, their arms, they really became symbols of that era, didn't they? Global trade, efficiency.
Yeah.
But now we might be looking at a different kind of automation.
Focused inward.
Sort of, yeah. Focused on very specific domestic needs this time around.
Which, well, that tees up our deep dive perfectly today. We've been looking into Knightscope, Inc.
KSCT.
That's the one, ticker KSCP.
Yeah.
And the big question we're wrestling with is, could this company be like the next wave, the next big automation story?
But for American public safety infrastructure.
Right, specifically in this, what people are calling the post-globalization world.
It's a really interesting angle. And when you look at Knightscope, some things definitely pop out.
Like stock.
Yeah, the stock price. It's, what, around $2.88 right now? But it's seen some serious movement. It hit $28.57 in the last year.
Wow, that's quite a range.
It is. That kind of volatility, it often means investors see, well, potential, obviously, but also risk.
Sure.
And they've got Q1 earnings on the horizon. That'll be a big moment.
Definitely one to watch.
Yes.
So look, our goal here, obviously, no investment advice.
Of course not.
But we want to really sift through the info we've got, try to understand why some people think Knightscope could become, a major player.
Like an ABB for this era?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
We want to find those nuggets of knowledge, right, to help understand that potential, that vision they seem to have for today's challenges right here.
Okay, let's get into that argument then. What's the case?
Well, one of the first things that jumped out was this idea of being tariff-proof.
Ah, right, because they build the robots entirely in the U.S.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100% U.S. built.
In a world where you hear more and more about Buy American, potential trade issues, reciprocal tariffs, having that domestic manufacturing base, that seems like a pretty significant edge.
Especially for government work, you'd think. Defense contracts.
Absolutely. If the trend is towards reshoring or at least securing domestic supply chains, then a company already making everything here avoids a lot of headaches.
Geopolitical risks, tariffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. One source called it a potential tariff tailwind.
A tailwind, I like that. Could really help push growth, especially, like you said, in government and defense buying.
And it's not just that they build here, but also their ability to, scale up.
The new HQ.
Right. The information says their new headquarters doubled their production capacity.
Doubled. Okay, that's serious.
It's critical, right? If they want to meet potential demand from, everywhere. Airports, schools, energy grade.
They need to be able to build them and build different types. They even mentioned a specific one, the terrain-dominating K7 unit.
Terrain dominating. Sounds pretty heavy duty. Suggests outdoor, maybe rougher environments.
Seems like it. That expanded capacity, it signals they're gearing up, right? Anticipating more demand.
Investing to meet it. And the different models, K1, K3, K5, now K7, it suggests a whole portfolio.
Tailored for different security needs, different places.
But importantly, this isn't just drawing board stuff.
No, absolutely not. They already have robots out there, deployed.
Where are we seeing them?
Hospitals, casinos. I saw mentions of city streets, corporate campuses, too.
So real-world use cases.
Definitely. And the business model seems to be built around long-term leases.
Recurring revenue.
Exactly. Which, investors tend to like that quite a bit. Predictability.
For sure. And the fact they were deployed, getting those leases, that's validation, isn't it?
It is. It shows the tech works, the clients are adopting it.
And sticking with it, if they're signing long-term deals, suggests it's providing value.
Which leads to maybe the biggest piece of recent news, FedRAMP clearance.
Okay, explain that a bit. That sounds important.
No, it's huge. FedRAMP is basically the standard, the security clearance you need to work with the U.S. federal government.
So high standards, rigorous.
Very. Security compliance. It's a tough hurdle to clear.
And Knightscope cleared it.
They did. Which potentially opens the door to partnerships with say, the military Department of Homeland Security.
Wow.
Critical infrastructure programs. It's a whole new market, potentially.
That feels like a massive step up.
Yeah.
Getting that FedRAMP status, it's like a stamp of approval, right? For security and trust.
Absolutely. It dramatically expands who they can even talk to, which contracts they can bid on.
And the scale of federal security needs, that's just enormous.
Yeah, it really could be a game changer for them.
Okay, so let's piece this together. You got the focus on automating public safety. You've got the domestic tariff-proof manufacturing.
Right.
Increased production capacity.
Doubled.
Robots already out there.
Yeah.
Earning recurring revenue.
Yep.
And now FedRAMP, opening the federal door.
It's quite a list. And the information we saw used this phrase, building a physical AI infrastructure for a de-risked America.
Physical AI infrastructure. What does that make you think of?
Well, it's more than just robots patrolling, right? It suggests connection, a network.
Yeah, like these autonomous systems are all linked, working together, contributing to a bigger picture of security.
And that de-risked America part, it taps right into those anxieties we have now. Vulnerabilities, supply chains, infrastructure.
So the idea is Knightscope's tech helps address those risks through monitoring, maybe deterrence.
It's a faster response.
That seems to be the pitch. And when they say physical AI, you got to picture these robots using like computer vision.
Analyzing what they see.
Yeah, maybe predictive analytics, identifying threats. They're essentially mobile AI-powered sensors.
Okay, so not just guards on wheels, it's a network.
A network that can share data, maybe learn, adapt.
Yeah.
A coordinated AI-driven security layer.
That makes the ABB comparison even more interesting. Right. The sources draw that line directly. ABB automated manufacturing for the globalized economy. And maybe Knightscope is doing something similar for security in this new era.
An era maybe moving away from globalization. More focus on domestic resilience.
That seems to be the underlying idea. Different times, different automation needs.
So just like ABB arms became fundamental for factory efficiency.
The idea is Knightscope's robots become fundamental for safeguarding domestic infrastructure.
Key difference being the focus.
How's
ABB
now?
on production, Knightscope on security.
And the geography. ABB global, Knightscope primarily domestic, at least for now.
It's like the definition of essential automation might be shifting. Not just factory floors anymore.
Maybe the critical need now is automated security across all sorts of public and private spaces here.
Interesting.
We have to remember the scale difference, right? ABB is enormous. Market cap over $90 billion.
And Knightscope.
Still under $3 billion market cap. Much, much earlier stage.
Which explains that explosive risk-reward profile language we saw.
Exactly. The potential is there. It's exciting to talk about, but that stock drop from $28. It highlights the risks. It's not a sure thing.
And those Q1 earnings become even more critical then.
Crucial. Are they meeting expectations? Is the growth happening?
Okay, let's quickly recap the main arguments we've pulled out for Knightscope's potential.
Let's do it.
1,
Yeah.
focused on automating U.S. public safety infrastructure.
Snuck.
2, tariff-proof, 100% U.S. manufacturing, fits Buy American.
Got it.
3, new HQ, doubled production capacity, ready to scale.
Yep.
4, robots already deployed, generating recurring revenue from leases. 5, that FedRAMP clearance, opening up federal and defense market.
Big one.
And this overarching vision, building a physical AI infrastructure for a more secure, de-risked America.
Right. The ABB comparison, but for security in this potentially deglobalizing era, focused domestically.
That sums up the core case pretty well, I think.
I agree. That's the narrative supporting the potential.
And a couple of other details that stuck with me. Those different robot models, K1, K3, K5.
And the terrain-dominating K7.
Yeah. And the sheer range of current clients.
Yeah.
Fortune 500 companies, but also schools, police departments.
Shows broad applicability, doesn't it?
It really does. And their mission statement.
To make America the safest country in the world.
Pretty ambitious. Sets a high bar.
It certainly gives you a sense of their long-term goal. That variety in models suggests versatility, different tools for different jobs.
And the client list validates that the tech is finding traction across sectors. But again, we have to circle back to the reality check.
The volatility.
The stock dropping from its high. It reminds us this is speculative.
Absolutely. And those Q1 earnings are hanging out there. Could be a major catalyst.
Or a disappointment.
Exactly. Did they land big federal contracts post-FedRAMP? Are lease renewals strong? Or will the numbers miss the hype?
And you have to wonder, even with FedRAMP, how tough is the competition in the government space?
That's a fair question. Are there incumbents who have relationships, even if they aren't tariff-proof?
Right. And does being only U.S. manufactured create its own bottlenecks?
Yeah.
Component supply chains,
Mhm.
scaling fast enough compared to global players?
Those are definitely critical counterpoints. The narrative is strong, but the stock history and the upcoming earnings, they really highlight the uncertainty. Investing at this stage always carries that risk.
So, okay, as we wrap up this deep dive on Knightscope, it leaves us with, I think, a pretty big question for everyone listening. You look at these trends: reshoring, infrastructure security becoming paramount, AI weaving into everything.
Yeah.
If autonomous robotics do become a fundamental layer of American public safety, what does that really mean? What are the wider implications?
And is Knightscope really positioned to lead that shift?
Or are there other factors, things we haven't even touched on, that will determine if they succeed or, maybe falter in trying to achieve that very ambitious goal?
It's definitely food for thought, isn't it? Thinking about that long-term vision and impact in this changing world.